Welcome to Partners in Ministry. I'm your host, Dan Smith, and today I'll be doing a special Get to Know You segment with Joel Willoughby. Joel is the Executive Director of Brains and Bibles in Ankeny, Iowa. Welcome, Joel, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's great to be a part of this again.
You bet. It's been a while. It's good to get reconnected. Hey, before we get started, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your ministry, who you serve, and how you serve them?
So the ministry name, Brains and Bibles, a little bit unique, but that's because the two should never be disconnected. That's the idea. What I really focus on is just strengthening churches. That's very broad, and it's broad for a reason, because there's so many different unique situations and whatnot, but just trying to build them up for the Lord's glory. And that mainly comes in the package of training with evangelism, discipleship, and Bible study. Those are kind of the three big umbrellas. Uniquely right now, I'm actually in this interim pastorate at a church. As I saw opportunity there, there was no pastor, some people that I could effectively work with, and it's been a real joy. I've been doing that since late February this year, and so that's been pretty awesome. So that's just another way of strengthening churches. This time I'm focused more on one than many. And so it has, it's a wonderful thing. It's a nice breath of fresh air, really, to be able to preach through a whole book again, things like that that I don't normally get to do. So, however it looks, it could be, just helping with pastors individually, just someone to talk to. I just did an evangelism training at a camp. It was a camp work week, and the youth group that came up to help do it all, I spoke to them throughout the week and just did some of my evangelism training. And it was really cool. I got a handwritten note from one of the ladies, and just so grateful for the training that was there. And one guy, I actually was able to lead him to the Lord at the end of the week.
That's
and
awesome.
So kind of had, sort of a fake testimony, kind of grew up in the church, and then realized through the training that he was very lost and needed Christ. And so that was a really cool opportunity. And that was just, today. So 2 Fridays ago, so very recent.
Well, I think I know the answer to this one just by what you just said, but what's your role there? And what brings you the greatest joy or sense of fulfillment?
Yeah. I'll just start talking, and I'll answer everything probably. It's so, with the church, the thing I enjoy the most with the interim pastor, which is true for everything, is teaching. I just love teaching the word and seeing light bulbs come on. And when people understand, whether it's someone that has never been born again and the light bulb of, I need Christ, or more commonly what I get is just that deeper understanding of who God is and how to please him. And there's so many people out there that they have a lot of uncertainty, instability, and it's because they have not been able to dive deep into the word. And when you give someone the tools to do that and you show them truths, it just turns on that peace and joy and satisfaction. They get fed by the word. So that's one of the greatest joys consistently that I have. And when I have a moment, though, where I can lead someone to the Lord, like just recently happened, I tell people in my evangelism training, I say, you're going to turn into an adrenaline junkie. Once you're there, and you can, God saves souls. But when you get to be a part of that, him using you in the process, there is just not really a greater joy that exists. And so that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I do a lot of planting seeds, watering seeds. And so it's so good, gracious of God to allow me to be see some harvest as well. It's really nice.
Yeah. That and baptisms. I'll tell you what, there's nothing like a conversion and then having somebody step out and confess to their world that they're a Christ follower and ask for their support through baptism. Those are so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
Well, you kind of done it a little bit, but do you have another story that you can share with us about how God has used your ministry to, let's say, maybe help a church with some of the things that they've been working through?
Yes, there is. I'll say I'll use pretty general terms. I don't want to be specific on this. There's a church that had basically a little bit of a schism. There was two people in the church that had a very harsh conflict, and it kind of created this little ripple effect where there started to be kind of two sides in the church, and there was a total lack of forgiveness, and even some people they're not wanting to restore. There was someone that was definitely in the wrong for sure. And, there wasn't necessarily a lot of people looking to restore this person to where they, ought to be. And so I came in and I spoke a lot, did a whole conference essentially on forgiveness, and walked through. See, I think the whole letter of Philippians focuses on that, how do we say their names, that Eudia and Syntyche, or whatever the names are there. And off the top of my head, it's hard to remember, but it's about restoring them, the church getting together, be of this mind. It's all about advancing the gospel. We can be content. And, you got to put all those things together. You have Galatians, where a horrible perversion of the gospel, one of the harshest letters Paul writes. But what happens at the end, chapter 6, this is how you restore someone to Christ. Right. So that's the whole idea. So, walking through concepts like that and this whole thing, and where it didn't, it's not like the problem got fixed overnight, by no means, but there was, quite a few people that it got them thinking, and it got them thinking in the right direction, and becoming a bit more helpful as well. And awesome. So, and I think there's been healing and progress since. So it's been awesome.
That's great. That is great. So what's something people might be a little bit surprised to know that you do outside of ministry?
I don't think there's any shockers. I love my work. I love my family. I love the Lord. It's just all those things kind of go together. I'm a pretty transparent, open book kind of person. And so what you see is what you get. And so, if you came over to my house, one of my big things is coffee. I would always at least try to treat you to some coffee. And I think I'm known for having good coffee and enjoying it. And so I'm a big coffee guy. I have been roasting my beans and things. I've taken a break from that right now, but that's always something I've enjoyed, and some pour overs and stuff, or there's other little cool things I do. But love the coffee. And then, of course, it won't be long, if it's not right away, that we'll be talking about something in theology or the Bible, or about what God's doing in our lives or something. So, that's really just me. It's,
yeah, I know. I participated once with you in a very unique fundraising thing that you do here in a couple of weeks that most ministry people aren't involved with. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was the first time I did it last year, and I'm doing it again this year. And that is partnering with TNT Fireworks and selling fireworks as a fundraiser. Brains of Bibles gets 20% of everything sold, plus tips, of course. And so it's a great opportunity to bring in some funds for Brains of Bibles. A lot of people, they're buying fireworks anyways, and you might as well support a ministry while you do it. And TNT is good. They're like the Under Armour of fireworks, is what I think. They have really good stuff. And so I had lots of great conversations in that process too. I was able to share the gospel a couple times, and really, there's one person I remember that we just got talking. She's had a rough point in life, and got to talking to her a bit. She's just, bawling her eyes out in the tent, and it's just amazing how the Lord can put people together. And it was really neat. And there's some other folks that kind of, not necessarily gospel conversations, but just I was able to show some kindness to some folks that are passing through and things. And so interesting opportunities. And then there was lots of people that I didn't know how to do a volunteer list for that thing, so I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't know the traffic and stuff. But what was really cool is I kept having people come, and they were volunteering, and a lot of times there was nothing going on until the 3rd and 4th of July. That's when it was crazy. But so before that, it was great just having conversations with people. And I think there was even some discipleship that was going on there, and just investing in people's lives. And so that was really cool. But yeah, if someone wanted to come out there, that's the east side of Des Moines. And it's right off of, let's see. I'm going to mess up the name of the street again. I get it mixed up. So I'll just say this. If you looked up Experience Church, we're in the parking lot. Experience Church, so the east side of Des Moines. We're in the parking lot there, and I think it's going to be the 26th of June, I think is when we're going to be starting to sell fireworks then, and I'll go through on the 5th. The 5th is a Sunday, so Sundays, against the wishes of the corporation, I still go to church, and then I just come afterwards, and it is what it is. I'm not going to skip out on that. So outside of Sunday morning worship times, I'll be there, and it's a lot of fun. You should come out. People should come out and just at least say hi, and it'll be kind of fun to check it out. And I'll tell you all about fireworks. I'm a pro now.
Sure. So who's been somebody that's been a meaningful influence in your life personally, and how did they impact you?
There's several names I could say, and but I'll say one. My brother Rob. He is always the guy that I think is first to bat in that category, and he's 5 years older. He's my only sibling. And he's a missionary over in a country called Estonia, which borders Russia out there, across from Finland, the Baltic Sea. And so he's been out there for like 16 years now. The key role he played, I really do believe, is that I went off chasing the world for some years, mainly 14 to 18 years old. In that time frame, just really chasing the world, living in the flesh. And it was horrible. It was a miserable, depressing experience, but I kept chasing that, trying to find joy in the wrong places. And he kept praying for me. And I believe kind of impressed on me that it was a lot to do with his prayers that God humbled me and gave me grace and pulled me out of all that junk. Sure. Addictions and everything, the whole 9 yards. And so my brother, actually, I went to visit him March of 25 out there. And I was reminding him of that story and how grateful I was for him. And he even said, he goes, "I've always said that you're my greatest success." And so there's nothing that'll make some brothers tear up. That was interesting. So I value him very highly, and he's always been a good, godly man, good role model. I'm his brother, and I can't really think of anything like sinful of him. He's just always been a really good guy. So if anyone's looking for an extra missionary to support, there's Rob Willoughby in Estonia. I'll tell you that. But anyways, I've always admired him for his consistency, just walking with Christ.
Sure. So what's a simple joy or a little thing that always brightens up your day?
My children. I'll tell you that. I have 5 kids, and out walking around, and then another one in the womb, due August 3rd here coming up. And I love kids in general. I love my kids the best, obviously. And they bring me a lot of joy. And I have a 14, 12-year-old boy, and that's a different kind of joy. And then I have my 6 and 4-year-old girls. That's a different kind of joy. Then my almost 2, my little John, he'll be 2 in 9 days. And that's another kind of, they're all fun ages, but just those little smiling faces and things. Well, doesn't matter what's going on, you're suddenly happy. So
Yeah, and that's the truth. Yeah. So what was it about the Quaker Hill Foundation that first drew you to their mission?
Yeah, that's interesting. I was speaking at a church, and it was the first time I knew the pastor already, but it was the first time I was at that church. And just in the setup and things, I'm talking, there happened to be another gentleman, and I don't, off the top of my head right now, I cannot think of his name. Shame on me, but I can't think of his name. I only met him that one time. And he had a business card. I remember it said like evangelist on the card. He was also like a Gideon, and he was dropping off Bibles, doing something. I forget what the whole thing was, but he had some Bibles he dropped off. And this is in Iowa. And Randy
Randy Folkers.
Folkerts. Yes, that's the name. That's the name. Okay. It just suddenly started to come to me. And we got talking, and he mentioned Quakerdale Foundation, and I never heard of it before. And so I was talking about my ministry and what I did. He's like, that's really interesting. He said, I think these people could help you out. And I said, okay. And well, I always am open to any kind of, suggestions or wisdom, help, any kind of thing. So I pursued that. And I can't remember if it was you or Rob that I talked to first. Because he gave me a card of one of yours. And
okay.
So whoever it was to talk to you, like one of you first and then the other one second. So, and started getting connected with you guys. And there was, of course, the grant opportunity. And that was that was really the only thing I knew of for sure at first. But as I got into it, then I realized there was, there's more going on. There's more going on than just that. And so I hopped right in and part of one of the mastermind groups still to this day and things, and just always willing to take advice and whatnot.
Yeah, I love those masterminds. They're awesome. As you take a look at the next 5 years, where would you like to see the relationship between the foundation and your ministry go?
Continuing and, however we can do this together just to see more people come to Christ, to see more people on fire for the Lord, to do his will, to please him. Ultimately, we have the same goals of just wanting to glorify and worship God the best that we can, according to the design and capacity that God has given us. And I think we both are in the business of equipping people, and perhaps, we can equip each other a little bit too. And I appreciate the meek spirit that is at Quakerdale. Nothing overpowering. It's very much we're friends. We work together for the Lord, and so I really appreciate that. And so just a natural continuation, and I think there's going to be a natural growth there on both ends. Nothing too specific, I suppose, other than that. But if that can happen, that's good enough for me.
Amen to that. That's probably the thing I enjoy the most about the work that I do through the foundation. I get to work with the neatest people. Well, for the most part, everybody. Yeah.
Right.
As a support network for ministry partners, like yourself, what's one way that we could pray for you and your ministry this week?
So we have our VBS coming up at this church I'm the interim pastor is really the big thing right now because it's overwhelmingly what's taking up my time with the Brings Bibles ministry right now. And not completely, but mostly it is. And we have the big VBS this next week, and just a lot of moving parts. And I've never been the person totally in charge of a VBS before. So just trying to help it to be a success, praying that kids would come that don't know the Lord, or that need to be a part of a church family, and that we can minister to them. I pray that souls would be saved, that decisions would be made for eternity. Overall, that we would, as a church, would grow, but there's something specific as the VBS ministry, because a lot of people are pouring a lot into that right now. And so just give it to the Lord.
You bet. Yeah, I love VBS. It's amazing what can accomplish through that. Both the people that are leading it, that are part of it, the community, the kids. I don't know how many of my friends were saved through VBS. Just a great thing. So, well, Joel, I just want to thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it too.
Hey, if you got any questions or if you'd like to learn more about Brains and Bibles, you can see Joel's contact information right here on the screen. You can also find it in the show notes for this episode on our website or in the description of this YouTube video. If you got some time, maybe you could send a quick email of encouragement to Joel. Let him know that you're thinking about him and praying for him. So on behalf of Brains and Bibles, Joel Willoughby, and Partners in Ministry, I want to thank you for joining us today. And until next time, let's get out there and serve as Christ serves.